Talking about the FA Cup, a player who has played in the competition and understands what it takes, especially the balls of nerves it takes when it comes to penalty shootout, is Jide Olugbodi, who joins the show right about now. Jide, good evening. It's good to have you on the show.
Good evening, Samson. Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's delve right into it. Let's start with the big one, and that's because ever since Omar Mamouche came on board for Manchester City, the impression was he would complement Erling Haaland. The goals would definitely, rain in their torrents. He's done his part, but Manchester City have been inconsistent. Against Bournemouth, he had to take, another comeback win from behind. More importantly, you had both players getting on the score sheet. Omar Mamouche getting the decisive goal. Erling Haaland leveling matters for the citizens. What do you make of Manchester City's performance? And do you think by next season, because this season is as good as over for them, especially in terms of their league title defense in the league, do you think by next season they'll be firing on all cylinders with Erling Haaland and the Egyptian Prince?
Oh, well, I watched the game and I saw that Manchester City were rattled in the beginning. Then it was kind of tense. They got the penalty. Haaland missed the first penalty. And then you could see that the fans could sense something. But they could sense an offset, if you could call it that. But when you have players like Gundogan, if you have De Bruyne, Kovacic, and those kind of experienced players, which who made the difference, then you know that you should not count Man City out. Okay, for this season in the league, you've said it. Let's count them out. It's not going to happen. But I think they'll come stronger next season. Pep knows what to do. I'm sure he's going to get the check from his bosses and then go out and get a few more players to plug the gap. So I'm believing that Pep will have his magic wand back next season as well.
Okay, to the match itself, what went wrong for Bournemouth? As you said, they started quite well, Evan Leeson. Even when the penalty was saved, they were still on the ascendancy and it looked like an upset was on the cards. But City did pull that out. You talk about pulling the chestnut out of the fire. That's what they just did. What exactly went wrong for Bournemouth, by your own estimation?
It's simple. When Manchester City, whenever they step up their game, we know what they can do. And so I think the penalty missed. You're on the pitch sometimes and it cannot get any worse. You've missed the penalty. You've gone a goal behind. And then that's where you need the leaders on the team, the experienced players say, look, come on, it can be worse now. Okay, at that point, all nerves go out the window and you don't have anything to lose anymore. Let's go for broke. And at that point, you can see that, the experience of the players in the middle came to play as well. And of course, it was important to get Haaland still in the game at that point. And of course, Mamouche, you've talked about him, fantastic player, is a developing talent. He came on, changed the game. And he had O'Reilly at the back as well, who came forward and produced the 2 assists. So when you have a squad as deep as that, Bournemouth will try, but, sometimes you just have to hold your hands up and say, look, we played a better team today. We just got to get better to keep up with them.
Okay, let's move on to another match that did steal the spotlight. Not necessarily because it was a clash of heavyweights, considering Preston North End were no match for Aston Villa. But it's all about this man, Marcus Rashford. Forgotten at Old Trafford, right here on loan, seems to have rediscovered, a breath of life. Not just about the goals now, but the overall performance. Do you think that Marcus Rashford can really get his mojo going right here at Villa Park? Or this is just yet another flash in the pan from what we've seen from him over the past 2 years?
Oh, yes, I agree. There's one thing absolutely the striker brings to the table, and that is confidence. And if you're lacking confidence as a striker, that's it. So I saw him go through the motions under different managers at Manchester United. And coming to Emery, I'm sure, Una has talked to him about how he wants to play. The style suits him, how they play. They're fast, they play quick football. And he's just told him, just enjoy yourself. And when I hear his interviews at the end of games, I see his demeanor, his body language on the pitch. You can see Marcus is a confident player now. He's answering the critics. He's back in the England squad as well. So I think everything is going right for him. All he just needs to do is what he knows how to do. Put his head down, go back into the drawing board and keep working on his finishing, working on himself. and I'm sure that is going to be an important piece of the puzzle for Aston Villa come the end of the season, and for England as well.
Okay, let's take a look at what the semi-final pairings, are saying right about now for the FA Cup. We know Nottingham Forest will be taking on Manchester City. This is definitely a big clash going by the form of both teams. Nottingham Forest, you can rule them out. And Crystal Palace against Aston Villa, and all Premier League affair, you want to say. Yes, we know the FA Cup is usually one of upsets, and you have the small boys, even from League One, get to the latter stages. But the Premier League teams are holding it down at this point in time. Quickly, before we preview the semi-final matches, let's talk about Nottingham Forest. By your estimation, are they the team of the season? We know Liverpool are running riot in terms of running away with the league title, but you look at a team that has beaten all odds in terms of the quality of play as against the players at the disposal of the coach. Nottingham Forest in the latter stages of the FA Cup, top 4 in the Premier League. Can you really make a case for them as the team of the year?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think they're up there among the rest. You can see that they work hard for themselves. They work as a unit. They attack together. They defend together. I mean, trying to get around them is like trying to get, through ants. They're creeping everywhere. They put their legs in, heads in, elbows. You see them defending, and they actually celebrate it. When they defend, when the goalkeeper makes a spectacular save, you see them celebrating. So, hats off to Nunes. He's done a fantastic job in there. He's built a team that is so difficult to beat. And you have our boys there. I know is there as well. Awuni is there. So again, we're part of those ones that are biased as well, positively. So, you can take a lot from this Nottingham Forest team. If you're looking to teach any young player the meaning of playing with your heart, playing with everything you've got, I think Nottingham Forest this season embodies all of that.
Okay, talking about playing with their hearts, all 4 teams will be playing with their hearts at Wembley because it's all about getting a place in the final right about now. Nottingham Forest against Manchester City. Let's give a quick preview of that. Going by the forms of both teams, you probably tip Nottingham Forest, maybe just a bit, considering City have not really hit those lofty heights even after the winter transfer window. But what do you make of it? It's the FA Cup. Upsets do happen, and you never can tell where the pendulum will swing.
For me, if Nottingham Forest, if they play the game and not the occasion, I think they've got a big chance, because they're going there, they're going to go playing against Man City in Wembley. You're going there as the underdog. So, hey, everybody's going to say you're going to lose. So you don't have anything to lose anymore, as I always say. So that's the first thing going for them. Second thing is the Manchester City, for whatever reason, they've not found that free-flowing football that we know them to play. So what happens on the other hand is you got a Nottingham Forest side that won the last 3 on penalties. They don't care. They just want to get through. So all they just want to see is when the next round. It doesn't matter how they're going to prepare for penalties. They're going to waste time. They're going to try hard. So I think we could be in for an upset, Samson. If you would ask me, I think it could be an upset. I really believe they can do it.
Interestingly, for those who do not know, Manchester City and Nottingham Forest of all 4 teams are the most recent FA Cup victors left in the tie. We had Nottingham Forest last winning the competition in 1959, and we know Manchester City, that's of recent. But let's take a look at the other semi-final. You have Crystal Palace against Aston Villa. We know quite well that Palace are bidding to win their maiden FA Cup title, and for Villa, it's been a while they won a cup trophy, it must be said. The last time they got to the semi-finals was over a decade ago. Now, the semi-finals will be taking place on the weekend of Saturday, April 26th. But Aston Villa against Crystal Palace, 2 teams with different, playing styles. For Crystal Palace, we know how they love to play. Villa, on the other hand, with, Marco Asensio, you talked about Marcus Rashford earlier. They look like a rejuvenated side from that mid-season slump that we witnessed from Unai Emery and his men from the Champions League down to the Premier League up to this very moment. How do you think this, goes for you?
I think Aston Villa, they've got a big chance. They have a serial cup winner in Unai Emery. I think he's won the UEFA Cup more times than most managers. UEFA Europa League. So I think he knows what to do to win the cup games. And I think he's got the crop of players. Like you said, everybody that watches them, you can tell that everybody knows what they're doing.
Yep.
The ball goes to a specific place at a specific time. They've got quick a transition as well of play. So, and I think for Crystal Palace, it's the first time they're going to be here for a while. And they might just be awed by the occasion. Playing in Wembley, everybody goes there and says, oh, it's Wembley. Before you know it is 90 minutes and game is over. So I think Unai Emery knows what to do. He's got the players. And you can see Aston Villa has actually played credible opposition. They beat in Tottenham and West Ham, fellow Premier League teams. Probably have had the hardest route so far of the 4 teams in the semi-finals. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to Aston Villa. But, in football, they say, you know what, never say never. When you watch Palace against Fulham, Fulham played a good game, but the decisive key moments those moments were taken by Palace. They were decisive in goal scoring. So, let's enjoy the semi-finals, Samson.
I'll leave it at that. Let's just enjoy the semi-finals. Crystal Palace against Aston Villa. History definitely beckoning for one of these sides, especially for Crystal Palace, who are here to win the competition. And for Nottingham Forest, 1959 was how many years ago? So it's all about making the record books yet again. It will be intriguing come April 26th when all 4 teams will go to Wembley to slug it out for a place in the final, which we know will still also be at Wembley. Jide Olugbodi, former Brentford player, thank you so much for your time on the show this evening.
You're welcome. Thank you.